So I'm supposed to be on a content break right now, but I couldn't not do a video on this announcement that Etsy has just put out today. And that is a clarification or a refresh of their what can you sell on Etsy policies, and also an update to the front end of the website to help customers know in more detail about the product. They're claiming this doesn't change anything, but it's meant to clarify things for the sellers and the buyers. And the goal is to make it easier to know whether somebody you're buying from on Etsy has made the item, designed the item, sourced the item, picked the item. So let's have a look at the changes that Josh has announced. So I'm not going to make you watch the video. We're just going to have a quick look at the text stuff of what they've updated. So talking about the history, basically what's happening here is that, and I talked about this in a recent video, Etsy is trying to get back to being known as the place people go to buy handmade. They're trying to rebrand themselves in that way and make that a clearer part of their messaging. So as part of this announcement, one of the things they're talking about is that they're doing a new advertising campaign, which is putting Etsy sellers' faces and stories front and center on the advertising campaign in order to try to keep commerce human. That is Etsy's tagline, and it always has been pretty much. And they want to try to bring that back. So that's kind of what they're trying to do here and clarify, because there's been so much confusion and anger and frustration around the sort of stuff that is being sold on Etsy. And I did that video recently, I'll link to it above, where I talked about the actual nitty-gritty that they announced during their recent shareholder report, where they talked about the actual behind-the-scenes stuff they're doing to try to get stuff off the platform that shouldn't be there. This is the front-facing part of that equation, where they're trying to clarify what you can and can't sell, and clarify those different categories that have always been available on Etsy, but now they're kind of naming them something different. So you used to have handmade, vintage, and supplies. Now you've got made by, designed by, sourced by, and hand-picked by. And these still have rules within the categories. So we're going to have a quick look at that. Okay, so basically the details are here, and we're going to go look at the seller handbook article in just a second. More options to the listing form for sharing details about your processes, materials, and tools. And so they also talk here about what they're actually going to be doing in the future. Discovery, search, new marketing experiences, better meet by expectations. So you don't buy something thinking it's handmade, but it's actually something from Alibaba, right? So don't know what this really means yet. Okay, so there's going to be changes in search coming. So we just have to keep an eye on that and see what that is actually going to mean. They're actually also talking about 2 free events that they're bringing back again. So the Etsy Up conference, which you might want to RSVP for. I'll put a link to this in the show description. Show notes. I'm not on the podcast. I'm on the YouTubes. And the Etsy Design Awards, which I was a finalist in once. You might like to hear that. You probably don't care, but that's fine. Anyway, It was exciting. It was a long time ago. Okay, so let's have a look at this handbook article that outlines this in a bit more detail, so you can be much clearer on what you can and cannot sell and how this is going to work in the categories moving forward. I'm going to do another video on the AI element of this, so have a look for that as well. So here we have the new creativity standards. Nice way of saying the rules about what you can and cannot sell. Okay, so here are our new 4 categories. All right, physical item made by a seller, made by your own hands or using personal or computerized tools. They're going to give examples. We'll go through them briefly. Designed by a seller. So this is where you design it but get it made by a production partner. Handpicked. So vintage items, items from nature, and certain collections of items. And they break this down as well. And then sourced by a seller. Items that are enabled by creativity, craft and party supplies that are personalized with a buyer's custom text or image. Okay, Etsy reserves the right to remove listings that don't follow our policies, but sellers remain obliged to pay any fees incurred in listing such items, of course. Okay, so here's where we have the details of made by seller. What does that mean, right? So handmade items, hand-altered items, hand-assembled items, items produced by computerized tools but at home. So they give examples here, tumblers decorated with vinyl stickers, printed by a Cricut machine, wedding invitations designed by a seller using software, hand embroidering flowers onto a tote bag is hand altered, hand assembled using jewelry making tools to attach charms to a necklace, handcrafted, pretty obvious, right? And then they also have this new section of the following examples that do not qualify, all right? An item assembled by a seller per the manufacturer's instructions, a Lego set, adding simple stick-on adornments, all right? And then this is very important. Listings must use original photo or video content of the final product, okay? When listing is for a personalized or custom item such as monogrammed or engraved accessories, your first image must show a finished customized item rather than the blank product or placeholder text. Okay, so I actually have to update a couple of my listings to be in accordance with this policy. So this may be something you need to update as well. So for example, I have secret message rings, and I have like some that the main image is secret and message. I mean, I could probably get away with that, but I should probably change it to an example of somebody's ring that I have made for them. Then they give you these examples of made by and not made by. I'm not going to go through all of this in detail because you can go read this, but there's just a few things I want to highlight that are important and you might not know about. So designed by a seller, obviously. Now the AI section here, so it gives you some rules about that. Sellers must disclose within their listing if an item is created with the use of AI, and then you have the stance on AI creations here. All right, you can't sell other bundle of other people's work unless it's vintage, because that goes under handpicked by a seller. Okay, so again, when listing personalized or custom items, your first image must show a finalized customized items rather than the blank product or a placeholder text. So handpicked, here are the rules for that. This is a bit interesting. It's been updated because this used to just be vintage items, right? Now we have items from nature. So basically anyone who's selling plants, herbs, seeds, and soils that are all wildlife products, okay? So they come under handpicked, right? And gift baskets are allowed. They are detailed here. You have to creatively package to create a new or unique set. All right, you can't use generic concepts. You can't have a basket with all one thing in it. I love how down here they have like a box of flakes. It's the example of that. You can't just sell a box of flakes saying it's a gift basket. All right, and then there's a few details here. So things that are newer than 20 years old, even if the item is designed to appear vintage, or reselling commercially available gift baskets. All right, so you have to make it yourself. I think this is still skirting really close to the line here, but whatever, they're allowing it, so you know that that's the rule. Okay, now finally, sourced by, this is craft supplies, party supplies, and buyer personalized items, okay, produced by a production partner, okay. And then we've got more information here about why Etsy allows these items. So let's have a look at that. And of course, they rule out generic resold items and resell blank items as well. Integral part of our marketplace. We recognize our community relies on quality supplies to create unique items. By allowing the sale of creative supplies, we empower our makers, and so on and so on. All right. So, I mean, there's not much information here, but they're trying to kind of explain / justify it. So does this really change anything? Not really. It doesn't change any of the actual policies. Like the stuff that was not allowed is still not allowed. They haven't changed what is actually allowed. They've just tried to clarify it. Have they clarified it though? Or have they just made it more complicated? I mean, it used to be like handmade vintage supplies, boom, boom, boom. But then I guess it was like, well, how do party things fit under supplies? And I mean, some of this stuff is still so arbitrary. Like, why is it okay to sell party supplies that are like pre-made that you could buy drop shipping basically, versus not jewelry that's drop shipped, you know, like it seems very arbitrary, but these are the same rules they've had basically forever. So they haven't really changed them. They're just trying to make it easier for us to understand what we're allowed to sell and for the customer to understand whether stuff is sold or not. So let's have a look what this looks like on the front end in shops. Okay, so here's one of my listings. And you can see now it's got this here. It says, whoops, it says made by Ethereal. Okay, so it's saying that this item is handmade by the seller. So this is where people might still lie. You know, they might say, oh yeah, it was made by me. No, it wasn't made by someone in Bangladesh or Bali, you know. But if they do and they get found out, they'll get canned. Okay, their shop will be shut down because that is against the policies. They would have to list a production partner. So it would say, instead of made by, it would say designed by instead. Okay, so here's another example from my friend Ree's shop, Zoe and Bruno. She sells beautiful beads, by the way, if you're interested. And you can see down here that it says sourced by Zoe and Bruno instead of made by. So they've already updated this. And like, if you've done the right stuff in the back end and you've already put like, it's made by hand, it's made by a production partner, it's vintage, blah, 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 it'll just be automatically updated here on the front end, and people will then see the new 4 categories in your shop. So what do you reckon? Do you think this makes any difference whatsoever? Do you think it's going to be helpful to sellers? Do you think it's going to be helpful to buyers? Will they even notice? Who knows? You know, I guess only time will tell. Is this just Etsy's way of trying to placate us and make us feel better by trying to clarify what's handmade and what's not handmade, but not actually changing anything, which I don't expect them to change what is allowed and what's not allowed? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. As I said, I'm going to be doing another video on the AI stuff, so go have a look at that one if AI is something you are going to be using or you're interested in using. And you can watch all my other Etsy videos right here if you want to check them out as well. Make sure to subscribe, give me a like if you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.